All right. So we're starting off with Liz. I remember this one.
Yeah, so this one's pretty good. This company didn't realize that they were being hacked until one of their servers was running out of disk space, and they'd had an attacker in there for like over 2 years. Who'd been in there, they said been in the network on at least 17 different occasions. We all know that means they were in there for a lot more times than 17. And it's pretty interesting because, well, first off, this happened to a company that hosts data and application for multi-level marketing scams. So, couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people. But they, the attackers exfiltrated a ton of data. Who knows what else they did in there. But it's pretty, this is not an uncommon situation where there's an attacker that's established a backdoor or a means of ingress and just stays in systems forever until they get caught. The only reason that they got caught in this case was that the hacker had created a data, like a file of the data that they were exfiltrating that was so big that they ran out of disk space on their server. So
yeah,
pretty amazing.
It would be nice to know how many people are owned already. I wonder if you had some relatively advanced tool, if you just picked like 50 random companies, how many of them are owned and don't know it? I would guess like 40.
Yeah, at least.
Closer to 50.
Yeah, it would be nice to know that, though. It seems like you could do a study anyway, because I like how they casually say they did not have proper security systems in place to detect unauthorized access and file modification. Like that's something you can just turn on.
Well, I don't think they had any systems in place because it also said they were storing stuff in clear text. So
yeah, well, I think
that's pretty bad.
I think the best thing you can do is to think canary tokens. I think nothing else is really worth much. Those will tell you when you get hacked anyway. That's some benefit, although it doesn't stop it.
Yeah. So
let's see, Urban's, the Disney Plus stuff.
That's a pretty egregious one. So
what was that one?
Yeah. And the FTC actually went after them for that. So that surprised me.
Oh yeah, yes. There is a lawsuit. Yeah, there's a lawsuit on them.
Mm-hmm.
On the multi-level marketing?
No, on InfoTrax, the company that was hacked.
Well, yeah, they'll get sued. That's part of it. So Disney Plus has not been out for long, right?
No, it hasn't. It barely came out last week.
And they got hacked.
Yes. Yeah. And already got hacked, and accounts are being sold on the black market in Russia and a bunch of other places. Mm-hmm. Surprise that Disney didn't really think that was going to happen.
Yeah, it was out for like a day before that started happening. So, it's funny because I have a couple of friends that work there, and I asked them about it, and they're like, well, they're checking it out, but I don't know what they're going to do. So, standard non-answer.
So they already have no clue what happened.
Right. They have no clue what happened when they released their streaming. The accounts just started getting taken away.
Or what they're going to do about it. I mean, that's a hell of an incident response plan to,
right. 10 million customers in 24 hours. That's a lot.
Now, somebody bought Disney, right? Sony or something?
No way.
No, maybe Disney bought everybody else.
Disney bought everybody else.
Disney bought everybody else. Disney getting bought by somebody. Whoa, stop the presses.
Okay. But they should have an IR team. I mean, they're pretty big.
Yeah. Supposedly they're going to be building out. They're getting a whole new big office in San Francisco, and they're going to be building out a security team. But it's like, maybe you guys want to move the schedule up on that one.
Yeah. It's like I've had my students get jobs in places like that, and I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing because the first couple generations of security people just get thrown under the bus and blamed for everything. Anyway.
There's another article about that, but supposedly they're saying, I don't know if I can link it to you guys, but it's, if you look, there's maybe I can drop that in the chat. It's actually pretty good. It's got it's got a little bit more of an explanation on this, and what they're saying is that a lot of it is people using weak passwords, which, I mean, yes, and that's going to happen. So implement some 2FA or something.
Well, weak passwords wouldn't be so fast, and it wouldn't be everybody. Well, obviously, we need to hear more of this story.
I don't know that it. Well, I don't know that it is everybody. But
okay.
I mean, I would go with the first. People are using weak passwords.
But I will say that weak we all know. Yeah.
Being a new service and knowing that people are spending money on it, I think it's a perfect target to strike.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of bad on Disney to not put 2 and 2 together and be ready for it.
Right.
All right. Well, Liz is breaking up some, and I'm getting that stapling sound from Irvin. I'll let it go and listen to the video and see how much of this stuff appears on the video. But the sound quality of Zoom seems to be much worse over the last week. I don't know what the deal is.
Did you run the most recent update?
Probably not. Maybe I'll try that. I usually avoid updates like the plague these days because all they do is break things. But
yes, I have been also, which is not good personal security.
Well,
I use the web interface for Zoom. That way I don't have to install anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm using a local app, but maybe I should try something else because it does not seem to be working very well lately. Anyway, I'll see how much of this actually appears in the recording. Zoom is not like, it's not clear to me that what you see is what you get with Zoom. Anyway, so this I thought was pretty amazing. I heard about this in a podcast. They had an AI analyzing EKG results, and it predicted that this guy was going to die within a year, and that turned out to be true. The physicians could not figure that out, and they don't know how. But that's only a single sample. But here's another one. They're now claiming that the AI system can take EEGs and detect when you're going to have a seizure an hour in advance. And if you could do that, that would be a huge advantage for people with epilepsy, because the real problem is they never know when it's going to hit, so they can't do things like drive a car. But if they could get 1 hour of warning, their life would be greatly improved. And in fact, they can often take that hour to take medicine to stop it. So I don't know if these things are wildly exaggerated, but it sounds like AI in medicine is really coming of age.
That's interesting. I know that they have taught service dogs to be able to predict seizures for people, but the lead time is minutes, not an hour. So it's interesting. It's pretty interesting how they do this. I wonder if the person has to be hooked up to the EKG machine, EEG machine, like constantly to find it out.
This one, I think they were able to stick something like in a hat or something not too invasive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And that's the point. Yeah, so they should be able to have something you can wear.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would really be a boon as long as it works.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it does. So, okay, so yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because this came up last night talking to the Department of Justice. So they're going to condemn encryption. Why don't you tell us about this?
So pretty much the standard. It's for the sake of the children. I've seen this movie before. Basically, they are leading a crusade against encryption because they say that it enables crime and child predators to thrive, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not really sure exactly. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. So.
Well, I had an official from the Department of Justice give a talk last night, and I asked him about this. And he said it is in fact true that a great many cases now they can't get the evidence they need because of the encrypted stuff. And his only solution, of course, is to pay Celebrite to hack into the phones. But he says that is so expensive that it limits their ability to capture the evidence. And
Sure.
I think, I think that the feds are not wrong to say they need to have a backdoor for the feds, and that that's not impossible. But most of the encryption people swear that can't be done. I'm highly skeptical. I think it can be done, but anyway.
I'm not sure I think the problem there is that once you have a backdoor for the feds, that's all well and good, but once it's there, that yes, yeah,
well,
yeah, I'm not really sure how that's gonna. I'm not really. I don't really see a way that you can do that without exposing.
Right. A door is a door.
No.
No, it's not. In encryption, there's already techniques where you have to have 3 people holding parts of the key and they all have to agree to construct the real key. You can make one-time keys. There are certainly technical ways to place further restrictions on the backdoor. It's not just like a default password that can leak. There are plenty of advanced ways to do it.
Sure.
I would say, yes, there are the technical ways, but we're talking about humans.
Right. I think the more salient point there is that it's easier for people to it's once you set it up, it's vulnerable to abuse. Not necessarily that it's going to open up technical holes, though. Do we really trust to speak to that point, do we really trust the government to properly implement technical solutions? I mean, for God's sake, they just chose Azure as their cloud provider.
Yeah, but I mean, there are ways to handle that. Like Cloudflare just announced these temporary keys for HTTPS. There are ways to lower the risk of handing someone who is incompetent a key, and Microsoft has the read-only domain controllers. This is actually a well-studied technical issue of how you deal with part of your network who cannot be trusted very much. You give them something that's not worth very much. And it can only be done with modern versions of encryption. So I think if the encryption community would stop just pretending they can ignore this problem completely, they could design a solution that would work.
I guess the other thing to consider here is that, you can put, say, for example, you can get backdoors on iPhones, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's always going to be some party in the encryption community, so to speak, that will come up with a solution for workaround. So, for now we have Signal and whatnot, but I'm not entirely convinced that making encryption, what are they going to do? Make encryption illegal? I think that's a slippery slope.
Well, what they can do is try to convince, hopefully without a law, the major manufacturers like Apple to allow some kind of legally warranted entrance. And if you don't do that, you have the current situation where there is no search warrant required. It is entirely up to the judgment of the Israeli company Celebrite. That's what you have. Since you made your security policy completely unacceptable, the cops are hacking around it, totally bypassing everything. So you've lost all control.
True. I think this is definitely one where there's kind of no easy answer, and this too kind of brings in new considerations for us to think about. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a real important issue. It's not going away. It's been going on for 20 years anyway. Let's see. Urban's got, I remember this one, the Google Chrome experiment that crashed everything.
Yeah, people got mad that Google added a couple of a experiment in Chrome, and it deployed out to everybody. So people with enterprise, things like terminal server, they couldn't get around it. They were getting what they were calling the white screen of death, because Google wasn't loading, it wasn't working, and took them a while to figure out that, it's an experimental feature that's already on. that Google turned on, then yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty common. It reminds me of all the people that turn off their cloud service and all the IoT things stop working.
Mm-hmm.
Or every Microsoft update, which is largely, or Apple update for that matter, which is why I don't put them on.
Yeah. So they had, like Costco, for example, they didn't have another browser that people could use in the meantime. They just had the one. So to deploy a second one during that madness, they weren't able, that just wasn't possible.
But that is, of course, the best practice at an enterprise is that you limit people's choice in software to just a few, which you can then manage. And you can do things like push out the updates promptly.
Right. But then when the creator of one of those few products does something that trips you up, that's the problem.
Yeah, this is why most people just go with the Microsoft version of everything. But I don't know. Anyway, it's a tough decision.
But also, I mean, it's especially tough because the Microsoft version of everything is not necessarily usable.
Liz, you're totally freezing up.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. My
you're back.
Must be glitching.
I don't know if it's my network or yours.
No. I saw it too.
Okay, what happened with you, Liz? What did you?
Slow network, probably.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Anyway. All right, and I've got this one here. Yeah, this reminds me of 2011 when the anonymous people were hacking everything. So these teenagers decided to catch pedophiles. So they went on chat rooms and pretended to be underage and got a professor to show up for sex and filmed him and put the video up. And then they said only after this is all over did they think, hey, that might have been dangerous what we just did. That's what struck me. Are you out of your mind? That guy could pull out a gun, freak out. I mean, this is a really serious issue. You shouldn't just have random amateurs doing this like Batman. And that's what the cops said. They said, well, you know, they did catch a guy, but we really don't recommend random idiot amateurs trying to do this kind of work.
Right.
There's a lot of this going on.
But, I mean, they are kind of kids, so, you know.
Well, they're going to do that kind of stuff.
This is what we get from reading superhero comic books, anyway.
Yeah.
It empowers them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the word for it. They're empowered.
Yeah. They're empowered.
They could use more real power, though.
Yes.
Anyway, so Rudy Giuliani, our favorite person.
I couldn't resist this one. This was just supposed to be sort of an additional joke headline. Couldn't resist because it's too funny. He managed to lock himself out of his iPhone and had to go to the Genius Bar to get it fixed.
Well, a lot of people are laughing. First, what was he supposed to do? He was supposed to go to the federal government to have it fixed? They would just take it to the Genius Bar, right?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just it's funny just because he's taken over and running this program to secure the cybers, and it's just one in an ongoing stream of hilarious stories about this. So anyway, when I see this and when I see him doing this program, all I think is job security.
Well, yeah. I know. I think the main issue here is using an ordinary iPhone for all this top secret stuff, just like Trump does. Anyway,
and goes out to a regular Genius Bar and says, "Hey, can you fix it?"
Yep.
I've seen a couple of comedians make fun of this too.
He also butt dialed a reporter recently. Yep. And while he was talking about like state secrets and stuff. So, you know, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but
some mistakes are bigger than others.
My right-wing student, when I mentioned that article, he said, oh, he was just doing that to make you think he's an idiot. And I said, well, it's working.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
But of course, I've had other Trump supporters say that, oh, this is all a scam. Trump is making you think he's crazy. It's all a carefully plotted scheme. And
do they ever like go further to explain why they would do this? What's the advantage to convincing everyone you're a moron?
oh, it goes down to the QAnon rabbit hole. It's all a conspiracy. This way they can undermine the people who are really their enemies, who are the opposite of who you think it is. Once you go into conspiracy theories, everything gets twisted around and backwards.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I need to polish up my tinfoil hat because I'm not getting it.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
but hey, maybe I'm just another one of the sheeple because I'm convinced that there is gross and rampant incompetence.
yeah, that's right. So I saw this one. The EFF was really happy. Go ahead, Urban.
Yes. Yeah, the searching through travelers' phones and laptops is finally unconstitutional.
Well,
Wow.
This is not final, is it? It's a federal court in Boston. It's going to be appealed, I suppose.
Yeah, it'll get appealed, but at least for now, it's standing as it's unconstitutional. So you don't have to worry going from SFO to China and getting your phone checked when you come back.
Well, I went to China and nobody did anything. They didn't search my stuff going or coming. They didn't put malware on my phone. They didn't do nothing. I probably like my car. I'm just so manifestly uninteresting. Nobody bothers hacking me. Like I just drove all over the place to this contest and people kept forgetting to lock the doors on my car, but they even found a guy in the parking lot and chased him out because he was breaking into cars, but nobody bothered at mine. I'm immune. Because you take one look at mine and you say, well, there's nothing in there.
Hiding in plain sight. But yeah, at least for now,
yeah,
it is unconstitutional for customs to take our stuff and scan it and do stuff with it.
I wonder if the EFF knows this. I mean, the TSA. Are they actually not going to impound stuff because they know this? I would highly doubt it.
I would doubt it also, but it's not the TSA, it's Customs and Border Patrol. So we'll see if it actually affects a policy change. But I think what Urban said was dead on. It's just a victory. It's a fairly significant victory in a longer battle or a longer war.
Yeah. But hopefully they will get official instructions. I remember when Trump closed the border, right after he got in, he didn't tell anybody anything. So the agents actually in the airports had no idea what to do. So some of them would do stuff like interview people to see what they thought of Trump and only let them in if they liked Trump because they hadn't received any actual instructions. And that was the best they could make out of what they were supposed to do. So I hope they're not jumping into action to somehow implement this.
Right.
Anyway, and I guess we're down to the last one. Oh yeah, this one here comes around. I didn't realize this. Now this is from cryptocurrency people who think Bitcoin is wonderful and they're afraid Google would kill it. But the thing that stunned me is Google is going to open checking accounts soon. And so is Facebook, even outside this Libra thing. It's probably not going to happen. Apparently, nothing prevents Google and Facebook from becoming banks, and they're really going to do it. And so there just doesn't seem to be any limit to how far you can expand. And I heard venture capitalists talking about this in a podcast, and they said, well, Google has to increase their growth, and the only place they can increase it, and Facebook, is to move into healthcare and banking. That's where the big money is. So they're just going to engulf everything until it's all part of this giant mega company. And I wonder where our antitrust laws are. I think this is one thing Elizabeth Warren would do if she got in. I mean, apparently Google is just going to own everything about every segment and nobody cares. And Facebook too. Facebook apparently is going to open bank accounts even outside Libra.
I'm kind of surprised Disney is not on this.
What's that?
Well, who knows? They might be.
Disney isn't doing this.
Who?
Disney.
Oh, Disney. Oh, that might be the next thing. Yeah. I mean, but if everybody can just open a bank account, I wondered about this when cryptocurrency came out. Everybody can just print their own money. That used to be illegal too, I thought. I thought there were banking regulations.
I just saw a thing last week. I want to say it was when I opened up like Credit Karma or something where it was pushing users to start a to start a bank account with them with like that had like a 2%. Yeah, Credit Karma Savings. Yep. Where they want you to actually have a savings, having a savings account through them.
Well, I thought there were laws, meaning that if you wanted to be a bank, you had to obey these burdensome regulations and get approval, and it was not possible to just be a bank on top of everything else.
Like I thought that you had to get, go get approved by the Fed and stuff and get a charter and everything.
And you have a bunch of financial disclosure and auditing requirements. Maybe they're doing all that.
I wonder if they're like how it relates to the FDIC.
Yeah, and one thing they're promising to not sell your financial data if you believe them.
Yeah.
That reminds me, the other one that Google has access to everybody's medical data, and they've had it for a long time and nobody knew, but they're promising not to exploit it too much.
How do they have access to it?
Through some connection with a third company. They have access to a ton of medical data, which just came out last week.
Is it through Epic?
A little bit about that.
Yeah.
Is it through Epic?
I don't remember, but Google has, Google's mission is to index all the world's information. So, there's no privacy in that mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite the opposite.
So I guess with this of them to start a bank, then I need to go start a bank.
You said you broke up there. You say you're going to go start a bank?
Yeah. If Google can do it and there's no regulations, then why not?
Well, I wonder.
We'll call it a secure bank.
I know. I thought there were actually very burdensome regulations, but apparently not. It's a brave new world.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too, though, how people's assets are insured, because, at least with a standard bank, you go in the teller window and you see like your assets are insured up to X amount through the FDIC. With cryptocurrency, people lose everything regularly. Yep. And I wonder what the situation is there. Like, I'd be pretty reluctant to, with the exception of like stock investments, I'd be pretty reluctant to put my money into something that has no guarantee of me being able to withdraw it at a certain point.
Well, Apple was richer than the entire U.S. government at one point, and surveys, I think, have shown that people really trust Apple. So they're happy with Apple Pay and the Apple credit card and stuff. So you got Apple, Facebook, and Google are going to be your banking options. And I think of the three, I also agree I'd probably trust Apple more. Yeah,
but that's more of a almost like a Paygate or a token processor. I mean, you're not banking. You still have a like a bank, your own bank that you use, even if you have it hooked up to a debit card or something.
Well, yeah, it is Goldman Sachs.
You're still using U.S. currency. You're just translating it over to something else.
Yeah, and I know the other thing is like there's no assurance that if they get robbed, or at least with my credit union, I know that if someone robs the bank or if someone leaves the credentials out, then my savings are insured.
Right.
Yeah. That was kind of funny. You slow down so much you sound drunk like Hillary Clinton or video. It has the same effect. It slowed you down to like half speed.
Yeah, sure. I sure wish I could get fiber internet here.
Yep. Whatever you got is not cutting it. Well, anyway, I guess that's enough. You guys got any more comments?
No.
Okay, I'll stop the recording, and I'd sort of like